Hey, how you doing, Joe? Hey, Susan. How's it going? How's your day going today? 6 a.m. That is early. Wow. I guess the world is round, Joe. Hey, Louisiana girl. How you doing? How's it going? Not a bad day here today. At least it's normal winter weather. A lot of COVID around here. A bunch of people at the post office have it, and my neighbor went to emergency with COVID. Yeah, cloudy. Yeah, it's 48 degrees. That's not bad, no. Oh, throat surgery. Oh, well, good luck to you. What kind was that, Louisiana? For what? I'll tell you, I certainly appreciate testing equipment at the hospital. God, I don't know what I would have done without that. Good luck to you. Does it hurt a lot, Louisiana girl? Oh, got you. Okay. Yeah, you'll probably be all right. Hey, Blue, how you doing? I'm better, way better. Yeah, nodules. Yeah, I know what you meant, Louisiana girl. I feel better. I've had that going on for a long time. I'll tell you that. I got an idea. My red meat days are coming to an end. Oh, good for you. I think it's like anything, right? It's a culmination of things. It's getting older, a genetic predisposition. And like my doctor said, you can't drive around all day for 5 or 6 hours, come home and sit in a chair for 5 hours on YouTube with other things going on. I've had this like forever. Basically, honestly, I'm wondering if I even have depression if I get this cleared up. Seriously, I'm not kidding you. I mean, I feel I'd say 50% better. I was up all night last night. I was supposed to wait to take these pills to the daytime, but I've been feeling so shitty. I was so anxious to feel better. I went ahead and took one. And I was up all last night, but to be honest with you, it was worth it. Yeah, it'll come back, Louisiana. I still do interviewing. I just did 50 of them about 6 weeks ago. But I haven't been down to Detroit as much because it's slow and super dangerous, and you can't trust the police. Doesn't make any sense to go down there anymore. You know, I've never really chased views, and I know what sells on YouTube, and I've never really done that. I mean, I'm not saying I won't do it again, but I'm not going to run around just because a bunch of people watch videos and try and do more of the same. Exercise will help. That's it. I don't get as much exercise, but Ramon, the you know, who feels like exercising when you don't feel good? You know what I mean? So yeah, I know that. Hey Brian, how you doing? What made me feel better was going to the hospital, getting an image, and realizing that I had blockage in my intestines. I'm not kidding you guys. Seriously, I've had that for at least 20 years. I've been telling doctors for 20 years that I'm surprised I don't have colon cancer. That I feel like I got this is the way I describe it to them. It's like a golf ball filled with air, and there's too much air. But what I always chalked it off to is like maybe a hernia strain. And when I got sick, you know how you ache more when you're not feeling well. Well, as it turns out, that's not true. Hey, Scott, how you doing? Yeah, I'm going to start working out. It's just I wasn't feeling. I worked out my whole life, but it just got to where I couldn't, man. I just, getting older. You don't know what the hell it is. I kind of was chalking things off to depression. Hey, Lana. Oh, thank you. Hey, Tom. How you doing? Yeah, it would have been hard not to feel better. Believe me, I was not feeling good. Oh, thank you, Diana. Yeah, and lady is in Ada, sweetheart. I mean, it's like a Hallmark movie. Yeah, just happened to run into her walking by her that day. I did not. Not at all, Dave. No, I know people that complained about that. No, I didn't get any. It's like everything. I mean, everybody's different. I mean, how you respond to drugs, what you end up getting to begin with. And it's interesting to me. Uh, Dave, this is kind of a little bit related to this, but I think you'd enjoy it because you're asking a question about muscle pain. There's a lecture by a guy named Dr. Daniel Claw, Clauw. He's a pain expert from the University of Michigan. I've been to that lecture before and I've watched it a couple times since. But I think you may be interested in pain in general, the gate control theory of pain. It's complex. And you mentioned that, and I couldn't help but think when I read your question that this kind of circles back to pain in general amongst different people. Hey, Celeste, how you doing? But to answer your question, I did not, and I'm surprised I didn't because I think I'm really sensitive to pain. I did get an X-ray. I did. I ended up getting a regular X-ray. It's just a huge area, right exactly where I felt that too. Right, like your bottom, below your belly button, down about 4 inches and to the left. I've been telling doctors this for 20 years. Oh yeah, I believe that. Yep, I believe that, Tom. Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, Diana, I mean, usually when first of all, my interviews are, run and gun. I just fire away. If I got to go out and read off a list, it just take the fun out of me. I'm like that with everything. I've always been that way. My photography, and I can, if I'm going to get graded or I'm applying for a job, I can buckle down and follow the protocol. But when I'm just having fun, I don't want to have to go out and like act like I'm some professional interviewer when I'm not. But my point here is I didn't expect to interview her. I just happened to see her as I was walking by. So it's kind of disjointed, not like it normally would be. You'll find just a brief conversation with her. After 2 or 3 songs, I asked her a question she didn't answer, but I realized later it was probably hard of hearing. Then it was more songs, and the questions are kind of in the middle of, in between playing songs, which is not good. Hey, Ron. Yeah, honestly, I haven't felt good in a long time, man. That was the biggest workout nut my whole life up until about 10 years ago, and it was all downhill after that. I don't think it's going to get 60 here, but it's going to get quite a bit warmer. A lot of people from the post office have COVID. I just talked to my neighbor when I checked my mail, and much better, thank you, Flower Fairy. And she had to go to the emergency for COVID. So it's alive and well. Yeah, methadone program. Yeah, what did you think of that, Louisiana girl? What did you think of his lecture? Now, I think he's an interesting guy. He's by trade a rheumatologist, but kind of a world-renowned pain expert. And he's always on the fence with U of M because he's a big marijuana guy for pain. And he's a tenured professor. So like me, I tell people on YouTube, I can afford to tell the truth. Nothing you can do with me. I'm not applying for a job. I'm not running for office. I'm not trying to date anybody. So, I mean, it's still subjective. I call it like I see it. But being a tenured professor, he can talk about marijuana, but they tell him to quit talking about it whenever they hear him, but they just can't fire him. So I think it's interesting. I mean, why would a guy lie about or mislead you when if there was anybody that was going to be in the pocket of a drug company for pain medication, it would be him. It wouldn't be something you could grow in your backyard. Yeah, my best friend up here is a doctor, and he's so anti-marijuana, it's ridiculous. And he says, but when patients tell him they're going to take it, who is he to decide what works for them? So, pain is subjective. It's like anything. Like this guy just asked me if I had any pain from the injection site. Now, that can have to do with a lot of things, nerve endings, where the needle went in. I'll tell you yesterday when they drew my blood, I'm very sensitive to pain. That lady stuck that needle in and I didn't feel anything. I said, what are you using, smaller gauge needles? She said, no. Well, I know what it was. There wasn't a nerve ending where she hit. One time when I was living in Detroit a long time ago before I got married, I was having a water balloon flight with my neighbor kids. And it was an old Detroit house that I was renting from a buddy of mine. And I threw a water balloon, slipped on the floor, and my leg went through the bottom screen door, which had glass on the bottom. It was glass, not plexiglass. My leg went through there, and up on the top of my leg, like right where you can feel your hip bone at the top, it opened a cut up in my leg about 6 inches long and that skin spread about 1.5 inches wide. I'm not kidding you. And it was about 3/4 of an inch deep. It looked like you had taken the sharpest knife in the world and just run it down my leg. And actually, it didn't bleed at all. No blood. It didn't hit any capillaries, didn't hit any veins, didn't have any arteries. You could see down there, it looked just like a big piece of chicken. And I went to the hospital and I got like 38 stitches or something like that. And then it bled, but it bled then because of where the needle entered the skin. But so it's kind of like the shot in the arm. You can get lucky sometimes. And it was so weird. I couldn't believe it. It's like, my God, why isn't this bleeding? But it did not. Yeah, that COVID's still alive and well. Like I said, the post office here, a bunch of people tested positive. Dr. Daniel Claw, C-L-A-U-W. C-L-A-U-W. He's on YouTube. Hey, Penny. Yeah, that's true, Blue. Yeah. Well, I think it's stronger. It's strong. Is it legal in your state, Louisiana, girl? I think if you're 51 and you were doing that 19, you're going to experience a much more potent strain than you did back then. In other words, less is better. Yeah, some for indica, sativa, some make you motivated, some put you to sleep. Depends what you're looking for. And it's all how it metabolizes. It's different. Some people are happy drunks, some people are mean drunks. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you. Oh, good. Did you? Grew up in Detroit. Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, I thought, hey, believe me, man, I was along for the ride on the interviews. I kind of got sick of doing photography and I found it interesting. And believe me, those interviews sat around forever and nobody watched them. So it wasn't like, the first interview I did, I thought, oh, wow, a lot of people are going to watch YouTube. I think I'm going to do more of these. I had like probably 8 interviews up with 20 views a piece, and that was fine with me. I kept on going. Same thing today. Now you're going to see some monster 5.5-hour uploads that are processing right now. I was always kind of like that. I mean, I like driving videos. I love clouds. I love sunrises, sunsets, but everybody seems to think on YouTube that it's got to be some money-making pursuit to gain popularity. It was never that way for me. YouTube makes you and breaks you. And they decided to promote my videos early on, which they're not doing anymore. it made them a lot of money, and then things got weird, and all of a sudden you couldn't even say the word marijuana. So I'm kind of back to the beginning, but I'm fine with it. If you notice, I'm not changing up my shtick at all. I do the same thing now that I did when I started. And I know when I spend 5.5 hours piecing together video of sunrises, sunsets, ducks quacking, grass growing, getting a new praying mantis nursery, I know that not many people are going to watch it, and I'm fine with it. I've said a million times, if this was about money, I would go around the country and I would search for blue-eyed, blonde-haired, working, heroin-addicted, white prostitutes. That's what sells. And I would block out all the drug words, and I'd make $1 million. And that's why I'm not going to do it. I'm not saying that you couldn't buy me off under certain circumstances, but not when the bar is this low. I'm not going to do it. I'm lucky. If I needed the money, maybe I would. You know how it is. It's human behavior. Bye, Brandy. Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you. I mean, there's a lot of, and they're going to find something wrong with what you do. It's funny you should bring that up, because I was thinking of that driving today. And what I think happens sometimes is there are people out there that will use you, lie to you, put anything ahead of your well-being. And I think that's a lot of the people that talking channels that trying to cause me trouble, because they've never done anything for anybody where there wasn't some consequence or something in it for them. So they think that I'm like they are, and that they're letting the YouTube community know that this guy's full of shit. No one just goes out there and interviews prostitutes and drug addicts and is nice to them without an ulterior motive. They can't help the way they think, but nothing else makes sense. All right, have a good day, Brandy. Yeah, you need to get some Rick Simpson oil, Angie. Get some Rick Simpson oil. Actually, I got some for Lana, and she can tell you how well it works. Rick Simpson oil, look it up. Yeah, same to you, Cheryl. How you doing? Yeah, it's synovial fluid. That's one theory, Diana. Oh, you have lupus, and you have both of them, huh? Okay. Yeah, you may want to check into some of those, Diana. Check out that Rick Simpson's oil. This is kind of like, this is always a dialogue of, do you still beat your wife? It's like, no. It's like, well, why'd you beat her to begin with? It's like, yes, well, you shouldn't be doing that. And that's kind of the way that these CBD, THC, Rick Simpson oil conversations go. You got someone with pain, someone that's looking for relief. Everybody, you have a right to be pain-free. That's what gets a lot of these pro athletes in trouble, like Brett Favre as an example, biking it. You can't hardly get out of the chair, you're hurting, you can't grip the football right. And before you know it, it's just fade off into an oblivion because you're in such pain. Or you get on something that blocks that pain receptor, and you're throwing touchdowns just like you were before you were injured. It makes sense. I'm not saying it's good, but you can't really criticize people for not wanting to suffer for chronic pain. So when it comes to someone that's went the traditional route, they're not getting medications from their doctor, and they're looking for relief because their days suck. It hurts to go to bed. It hurts while you're in bed, and it hurts to get up. Who wouldn't look for relief from that? I've never smoked marijuana. I'm not a big marijuana guy. But like my doctor buddy says, who am I or who is he to decide what works for people? I mean, wouldn't it be great if you could just take a one a day and everything would go away and there were no downside? Absolutely. But nothing in life works that way. There's medicinal benefits to everything, and there are side effects. If you're a female and you're taking a pill and it's helping your rheumatoid arthritis and your lupus, that's great. Now, if you're growing a big dick, that's not great. So, I mean, it's like anything. You have to look at the positives and the negatives. And if you're fortunate enough to live into a state where that's legal, why not take advantage of it? You're entitled and should be able to be pain-free. That's the way I look at it. I average about 45,000 miles a year. 45,000, yeah. Some years 60, some less, but that's a good average. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I do drink herbal teas, but I mean, I'm not knocking you, and good luck if they work, but I'm a science guy. I want to see, I'm not saying science is 100% effective and true, but by and large, people live longer now than they ever have because of science and because of man-made medication. I'm not a natural guy. If you get a herbal tea and it makes you feel like twinkle toes, good for you. Yesterday, when I had a problem, I didn't go to a spiritual healer or someone that was going to rub wheatgrass on my pee-pee. I went to a hospital where medical doctors work with medical equipment that was designed by mankind that told me exactly what I had and gave me man-made medication that made me feel better. So all bets are off when you go this medicinal route. You don't know what's what, if you're getting a strong dose, a bad dose. You don't know if a rat jumped off the side of a building after he took it. You just don't know. It's a stab in the dark. No, because it's cream. I'm not saying you're not going to get an effect from it. Is Lana, are you still on here? I got Lana takes it for chronic pain. I hope she's still on here. I would say no. Although here's the deal, Angie. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you're at a party and you get some THC, people are gonna say, "Do you feeling high?" You're gonna say, "Yeah." If you've got chronic pain and you don't feel pain anymore, are you high? Maybe you're gonna say no. You see what I mean? I mean, let's put it this way. How bad can it be if it was legalized? Your state of Michigan has legalized this, and it's not because it's going to turn you into a screaming, raging dopehead. Hi, Tammy. Hey, Dominic, how you doing? So, I mean, that's, again, it's subjective. I mean, I can tell you this, and that's a good question, and that is that does THC, any way you get it, through a salve, smoking it, a shotgun blast to the forehead, does it affect your motor skills? And the answer is absolutely yes, it does. You know, that's still like a dicey area with law enforcement. Hey, Simca, how you doing? 3:30, but 4:30, but it made a funny noise going up a hill today. I hope it's not the end of the road. It's not, because I'm going to get it fixed no matter what it is. Yeah, I did go to the hospital. You know, I went and got a scan and some medication and stuff. Gabapentin, yeah, gabapentin is boy, the Tylenol is what I'd be worried about. Actually, gabapentin, I mean, there's a theory out there, Neurontin, they use it for diabetic neuropathy a lot. If that works for you, you're lucky, because it's kind of a mixed bag with people that I talk to. Super safe medication. People say, well, yeah, people get high off gabapentin. Yeah, they do, but they're not telling you the whole story. They're grinding it up and snorting it. They're not taking it in like you are. What I would be considered, 3,000 milligrams of Tylenol is the max that you should take. But Tylenol, I'd be worried about the Tylenol, not the Neurontin. What's your pain from, Tom? Do you have some rheumatological condition? Oh, I appreciate it. Hey, White Russia, how you doing? I did go to the hospital. Yeah, I had some kind of blockage from, the doctor said it's a lot of reasons. Driving too much, sitting too much, doing YouTube stuff like I'm doing right now. Yeah, I'm feeling better, yeah. I was sicker than hell, though, I'll tell you that. Oh, you know where Chisago is, Tom? You know where Chisago is? You don't think it helps? Yeah. It's a mixed bag on Neurontin. It is. They use it for a lot of things. They even use it for depression. Yeah, no, yeah, I get it. And you might want to try. I mean, I can just tell you this, based on the studies I've read, to me, CBD seems like bullshit. But there's people that swear by it. So if you feel that way, you may want to just try the CBD. I mean, why not? Oh, yeah, that's interesting, my enemy. Yeah, a lot of medications are used for that, like Wellbutrin is an example. It's an antidepressant. It's also considered under the stimulant class of antidepressants. And they use it for weight loss and to get people to quit smoking. Yeah, drink more water. You're right, Hank. Famous last words. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, the funny thing about it is I was drinking more water than I ever did, and it still wasn't enough. Yeah, Tylenol. The data's there on Tylenol, no doubt about it. But if you're in a therapeutic range, that's another thing you want to drink a lot of water with. Oh, thank you, White Russian. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a nice little town. No, I had my neighbor's got a kidney stone. He's off work for a week. No, I had a blockage in my intestines, sitting too long, not drinking enough water, getting older, and I'm sure that intestine isn't quite as flexible as it was 20 years ago, and I could have got away with the same behavior. Yeah, if you take Tylenol within a therapeutic range, I'll tell you what you don't want to do. You don't want to take it with drinking alcohol, for sure. Yeah, I get it, White Russia, I know. Yeah, it's a cute little town. I know a guy up in Chisago about 25 years ago. Went to a bar. We're talking about guns. 3 o'clock in the morning, the guy breaks into his house, says to him, I want that gun you were talking about. He said, oh, I'm not giving it to you. He said, you give it to me, I'm going to shoot you. He said, well, shoot me then. So he shot him. Ended up paralyzing him from the neck down, arms and legs. Then, believe it or not, they negotiated. He said, call 911. The guy said, I'll only call 911 if you give me the medication, if you give me the gun. So he told him where the gun was. He called 911. 2 cops saw this guy walking down the road, pulled over, went up to him. He shot both them too. I think they both died. I know at least one died. Yeah, I'm sure your brother knows about that. Guy's name's Scott Johnson. Ketamine, yeah, they're really coming a long way with that too. Yeah, also mushrooms. They're actually doing some medical studies on those for PTSD, and so far the data looks pretty good on people that have been raped and stuff like that is along the way. Yeah, I feel better. Yeah. No, it wasn't. If I didn't have a doctor buddy, it would have been an emergency. But luckily, he was working at the hospital that day, so I just had to go over there. Oh, is there anything good in there, Simka? I got pills that I took all night long. I got to drink more water and not sit down so long and exercise more. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, Joey's getting ready to move is right. Party time is right. Don't like that. How's the house treating you? Hey, Kevin. Yeah, I should be going to Atlanta pretty soon. But as it's turned out, there are no rental cars available for one way. I talked to Enterprise today. He said all over the country, there's a shortage on rental cars. Nobody's renting them one way because there's such a low volume. So, I was thinking driving this van down there, and then renting a car back, but that's off. So things are kind of up in the air with that. Oh, you're kidding me, Tammy. No kidding, huh? Oh, wow. Wonder how that happened. I'll look that up. Thanks. No, I like going to the gym. I just haven't felt good enough the last couple of years. You know, between who knows what, man, plus getting older. I mean, if you notice, there's a lot more younger people in the gym than older people. That's basically a product of growth hormone. Yeah, and I played basketball big time till I was 50, and I quit because I didn't want to have knee problems. Plus, you can't do it here. You can do that at a condo. Yeah, I don't know. Tell us. I wonder where that happened at. I just looked it up. I don't see anything on here, Tammy. No kidding. No. Wow. Did they just list Taos in the article or the news break, but it's maybe someplace else? Oh, thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. In front of Big Boy. No kidding. Yeah, that's right where Jesse's brother was killed, right? That same intersection. That guy just got 90 days in jail. If it's clear dark purple, I can tell you right now it's worth nothing. I can tell you anything about marbles, machine made or antique handmaids. Yeah, same intersection, same exact intersection. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to find that. The traffic, the speed limit's slow there too. It's 45. I mean, you would have never guessed in a million years that somebody could hit a kid on a bike there. It's a wide open intersection. So weird. And he was stopped. Oh, okay. No, it was not a DOI. No. They said that they didn't believe. Now, supposedly, I talked to Jesse about this. They didn't test him because there was no signs of alcohol, which just seems odd. I can't find anything on this, Tammy. I wonder why it's not listed. No, I don't talk to her. I don't talk to Mama Kelly. I never talk to her again. It'd be too soon. If she called, I wouldn't answer the phone. Oh, really, Angie? That's weird. What's the title they use, Tammy? No, you're right, Kevin. Yeah, I agree. Yep, sure is. You wait till that Article 230 gets amended, and you're going to see a lot of that go away for good. Yeah, really, it's been that way for a long time. I did nothing but try to help her, and every single turn around the bend, it was like, I was a big motherfucker, and have the police talk to me about girls being murdered and blah, blah, blah. No reason to have any relationship with her at all. If I never heard from her again, it'd be too soon. And deep down, she's an easy person not to like if you consider the life she created for her daughter. So again, there's not 1% of me that has any interest in having anything to do with her. You could travel around for the next 10 years and not find another person that did that to their daughter. Yeah, I never could get into Facebook. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but this stuff, it's also why Jenny Jones and Jerry Springer and all these shows make it. People love controversy. They love to start trouble, and it excites them. Oh, okay, Tammy. Yeah, I don't get it, to say the truth. These channels they're not going to be drama anymore. All they're going to talk about is current events. And what are they talking about? Drama. And you know why? Because nobody wants to listen about their opinion. Who would want to listen to somebody like that about current events? I mean, this is like being in the 8th grade. And when their numbers dip and nobody tunes in when they want to talk about a traveling serial killer, they can't figure out why no one's interested in what they have to say. Well, that's why. You've already shown your true colors. All these channels, I've said this a million times, these stalkers, these gossip channels, these drama channels are all super unsuccessful people in life. Their relationships haven't worked out. They don't have any jobs that are worth a shit. They live with their parents in their 50s. They have criminal records. They have no friends. And getting on the internet allowed them to get back on and do the only thing that they're qualified to do, and that's start trouble. None of them can tell you the last good book they read. None of them can give you a recommendation on an interesting lecture on YouTube. They're all troublemaking, bottom-feeding, low-life losers. No, she didn't run. She just didn't have any chance. Nope, not at all. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, Kevin. Definitely want to get the vaccine. Absolutely, for sure. Oh, thank you, Bill. I couldn't find that. You definitely want to get that vaccine because you are considered high risk. And I hope you're being careful about going outside. Yeah, I really like Manny. I really do. Yeah, thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, Manny's in a predicament that isn't uncommon. Heroin addiction. It's a bitch, man. I think it's not going to be a good outcome. I hope I'm wrong. It's one thing about getting into that and getting addicted to that crap. It's another thing on not wanting to quit, and they're out there. There's people that realize what's coming down the road. You would think the possibility of dying any day would frighten people, but it doesn't. I've actually known incidents while I've been down there, where a roommate of a heroin addict had died from fentanyl. You'd think that you'd make sure you didn't go back to that source. Uh-uh. They're trying to find the person that sold that person those drugs because it was a good high that just got out of control. Oh, sorry about that, Diana. Yeah, no, it sucks. I feel for you because, I mean, it's gene expression. I mean, the sad thing is the parents that have these kids like you do, and it's not to say that you couldn't have had something to do with it, but there's this equally amount of a chance that you didn't have anything to do with it at all. I mean, you look at identical twins with the exact same DNA. One's a heroin addict and one is not. Now explain that one. Came from the same household. It's gene expression. They can be the same, but they can express themselves differently. It's super complex. Hi, Amber. There's still heroin around. There is, for sure. They bust pure heroin shipments in Detroit all the time. It's not fentanyl. Yeah, Baltimore. Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that, Diana. I'm sure that weighs on your mind. You know, don't like that. To be honest with you, I haven't followed that at all. I haven't. It's just, I mean, to be up on it, it takes a lot of time. It's unfortunate. I don't know. Oh yeah, I know, Diana. Believe me, it's heart wrenching. Yeah. It is, but you can not if you watch it in a therapeutic dose. The only thing, Tylenol is not for inflammation. It's for pain and to lower your temperature. Ibuprofen's for inflammation. So why is it that they wanted you to take it, Kevin? No, it's bad if you abuse it or you drink it with alcohol. But you know, if you're trying to, there are medicinal applications for it. No, you're right, Russia. Yeah, it's true. Oh, did she, Diane? Oh, it sucks. It's true, White Russia. It's crazy. See, you understand this nuts, man. This isn't like, you know, if you're down there and you're in a neighborhood and there's 50 people that are addicted to the same thing, and you are having a discussion like we are about this, nobody's surprised down there. The people that are surprised are the people that aren't in there, like on these YouTube chats, and they think, my God, you got to be kidding me. And the reason you think that's because your life's good. You don't have hepatitis C. You don't have a bunch of STDs. You have a house. You have things that you want to keep. And a way of keeping those is not being involved in that lifestyle. But when you're in that lifestyle, you look at things totally different than we do. You have something to lose. They don't. Everything that they had that was worth anything, they gave up. So there's nothing to protect. Yeah, yeah, it's weird, isn't it, Flower Fairy? Yeah. Yeah, if you take too much, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, I've had conscience attacks before, and I've talked to Maddie's girlfriends, and basically it's like they were very nice people. They had her best interest in mind. They take food to her, and you know, as a layperson and a person that cares for somebody, you're primed to be eaten alive because if they're not motivated to change, they'll take everything you give them. They will lie to you, and that's just a consequence of their addiction. It's the drug controlling the way that they think. I think for a long time, these people were in love with Maddie based on how they knew her before she had an addiction issue, and they're sticking to that. So they're trying to save the old Maddie, even though the old Maddie's not around anymore. And Maddie needs drugs. Drug addictions, addicts needs drugs. So Maddie's using the only card she has, and that is attracting them to support her from the old days. And that any day this is going to change, even though it's not. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with Maddie having a good chance. Hey, Gail, how you doing? Say that it was, but you mean I've known Maddie over 2 years now. I mean, I think, in theory, her likelihood of living longer is better because she doesn't have to work the streets. The same with Becky. So arguably, their life's improved. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You understand that then, Cheryl? Save the person you used to know. Yeah. And people are trying to do the right thing. I mean, it's a blurry line. I mean, the person that you used to know really isn't that much different than the person that you're not going to save. They look the same. They're the things that you liked about them back in the day are the things that you like about them now. And you think if you could just help them with this one major roadblock of drug addiction, it's going to be back to the old days. It's like winning, wishing the Powerball. They take advantage of people's reasonable sense, your decency as a human being, and they will chew that up and spit it out. I don't think the man, Gerald, Maddie was a heroin addict before she ever knew Gerald. And this notion that he's making her stay there is nonsense. It's not true. I mean, as fucked up as it is, Gerald is good for Maddie. Her life's better because of him, not worse. Yeah, that's right, Tammy. You got to really want to change. I think so too, Sharon. Yeah. Trying to say, yeah, I hate to say that, man. Hey, I mean, I'm not a parent and I'm not a sibling, but boy, I think the same way you do. I've had it happen too. I do the same thing and nowhere connected to what yours is like, but it's like, man, this sucks. If you look back to the people that I talk to, in a little small way that I don't take credit for, that I'm trying to help them, they're dead now. I mean, that's why people say, oh, you've done so much, you brought awareness. That's bullshit. I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but believe me, if there was something I could have done, I'd have done it. I don't think giving a can of chili and a sweater and a pair of socks to someone is anything. It's nothing. I did the only thing I knew what to do. It wasn't like I was down there dropping them off drugs. It's just shit. I got the same thing that everybody connected in their life got, disappointment. Becky's better in the sense she's not working the street, selling herself, but she's still got the same drug problem. No, it's not good, Diana, but I'm telling you, if you said to me now, would you rather have Maddie down there alone or Maddie down there with Gerald? I would say that I would rather have her down there with Gerald. I just can't imagine her being alone and walking around there and dealing that life. Believe me, it's not a perfect scenario. It's like, getting shot with a 12 gauge or a 16 gauge. I mean, they're both bad, but I'd rather. Yeah, I think so too, Simca. Yeah. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, it's so bad. It's a downer, man. Well, I mean, but she had a active addiction problem before she ever knew him. I mean, and here's the deal. I mean, realistically, if Gerald didn't know Maddie and lived a mile apart and they were both drug addicts, I mean, how is their life worse if they were going to have the same lifestyle apart from each other, unconnected? It isn't any worse. I mean, people like try and connect the dots on this. And I mean, what do you expect Maddie or Gerald to be with the local deacon? Yeah, ducks fly with ducks. Whether you like football together, you're drug addicts together, drinking, card parties, it's no different. Yeah, that's what I think, Diana. Yeah. Hey, Cheryl, good luck. Be safe out there. Carry a can of bear spray. Hope you do that. You only got a couple hours. Well, that's a big, huge problem, Dominic. It's funny you should say that. I was just thinking about that last night for some reason. You know, that's a woman's moneymaker. There's a market for it. And a guy is forced to steal or rob. It's apples and oranges. Yeah, I mean that is an improvement, I would say, White Russia. I'm saying it is, but I still struggle sometimes with the tricking part. And that is because if you were given it away in a dating relationship, I mean, what's really different? Now you can say, well, it's loving, there's mutual respect, all this stuff, which is true. But when it really gets down to the brass tacks, if you've got a vagina and you're either charging for the 50 times you're using it for sexual purposes or you're not, where's the real difference here? A guy. Oh, that's interesting, Sharon, huh? Huh. Yeah, but Cheryl, it's Sharon, it's consensual. They're agreeing to it. I mean, it's their life. I mean, God knows what goes on in the workings with the way they think to have a guy around. But I don't think they have one around to make their life worse or they get rid of him. So it's not an ideal situation, but if there's all sorts of women out there working two jobs and the husband sits home, fucks around playing video games all day, what's the difference? I mean, I just don't quite get this comparison between a female that works and her husband doesn't, that plays video games, and a female that's a prostitute that makes all the money for a two addiction household. Yeah, I get that, Dominic. I'm the same way. But life is probably hard to describe for us than it has a lot of other people. That's one thing that was a real eye opener for me, and that is before I did that and got to know the lifestyle and got to know people that I liked and considered friends, there's a point there where you can have a romantic relationship with a female and overlook her tricking as a means to an end. You do weird shit under desperate circumstances. And that was the big surprise to me. I've seen couples holding hands and kissing walking down the street. And within the next hour, she'll go out and suck 3 dicks like it's nothing. Shocking to me. What's the huge difference here? I've seen it happen. I agree, but that's what it always is. The addiction's controlling their mind. Then what's the reason for the wife to work 2 jobs while the husband plays video games all day long? She's not addicted to anything. She's supporting this bum that has no plans on working. What's your answer to that? Life is on the line. I agree. It is. Yeah, I agree with that, Diana. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. The moral code does change. Yeah. No, but that isn't the point. That's not the point. We're talking about the mechanism in why women support people that have no intention of doing anything or the ability to earn money themselves. And there's women down there that never happens to. Which is why my argument is that Maddie and Becky's lives have arguably gotten better because they don't need to trick. Likely or unlikely? Yeah, but if you look, they're dying because of the addiction, not because they're getting murdered on the street. If you look at the statistics of prostitutes and murder, it's still really low. So your argument that the difference is because they're going to die because of violence is, you can't substantiate it. No, I don't think that would help. She's been to jail, Maddie, simply. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a genetic component to that. You're right. The women's, I would agree with that in one way or the other. But I mean, it's not just addicts, it's like relationships in general. What about alcohol? Risky behavior. How about Timothy Treadwell taking his girlfriend with him where she ends up getting eaten alive by grizzly bears? I mean, the writing was on the wall there, and they weren't addicted to anything. I mean, this is more of a relationship issue, not a risk analysis. Good girl, honey. And here's another thing too, Sharon. This is something that Maddie is an adult, and the millions of other women worldwide, they've consented to this. It's their life. And if that's the way they want to live it, who are we to criticize? It's not you making decisions for them. It's a bad decision. You want better for them. But after all, they're the captain of their own ship, no matter what the circumstances. Nobody's forcing Maddie to be with Gerald or any other working girl that has a boyfriend that doesn't work. Yeah, she's napping. Yeah, Daisy had a long walk today. Yeah, you're right, Diana. It's true. Yep, child porn, same thing. It's true. Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah. I think so too, Cynthia. I think it is too. And there are incidents where these women are harmed, but it's still super low. I mean, it sucks. I mean, there's no like happy story here. No Hallmark movies coming out of this. Well, it doesn't matter what country you're in. You're going to find a Maddie and a Gerald all over there, all over the place. It's a dysfunctional relationship. So when you try to plug in normalcy outside of drug addiction and prostitution, you're going to constantly either be arguing or frustrated because it's apples versus oranges. It's not happening. You're trying to take your standards and hope that some way they're going to see the light. It's not happening. Yeah, I took a long walk actually with Daisy. Yeah. No, I agree with that, Jeff. Yeah, you're right. You know, if you them even early on, it's like, hey, I'd like to try some hair crack. They say, no way, I'm not getting you that. Nope, not doing it. Go someplace else. Oh, good for you, Diane. Oh yeah, I believe that too, Cynthia. Yeah, yeah, I believe it. $10, yeah. Yeah, but you don't have any proof of that, Sharon. That's pure conjecture. You don't have any idea what Gerald does or doesn't do. I got an idea you don't like Gerald. You don't like males and relationships like the one Maddie has, and you're critical of it is, even if you don't know firsthand what their day-to-day life experiences entail. For all you know, Gerald tells Maddie every day, you'd be better off without me. I think you should leave, and she doesn't do it. You're creating things in your mind that may not even be happening. All I can tell you is, and I'm not saying it's an accurate analysis of what goes on, but when I was down there more, and if you asked me, do you think Maddie's better off with Gerald? I would say, I do. A lot? No. Is there a better life? You better believe it. No, I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. But I know two couples right now where the husbands haven't had jobs in years. Nobody wants to hire them. They're unskilled. They can't get hired. They're basically house husbands. And they have great, loving relationships. And the wife not only works one full-time job, she works a part-time job as well. This is something she's consented and agreed to. I mean, other than the Donna Reed show, where the husband makes all the money and the wife stays home and cooks and cleans, what's the point here? There are drug-addicted relationships where the wife's the sole income, and there are non-drug addicted relationships where the wife's the sole income. And as long as these females consent to it, it's really none of anybody else's business. Oh, I believe that, Diana. Yeah. I mean, everybody's got this fantasy that they're going to concoct this idea on how Maddie's life should turn out. Yeah, Tassie worked for Goodwill for quite a while. Yeah, I mean, that's better than nothing. Yeah, no, yeah, I get it, Sue. Yeah, right. Yeah. See, that's your personality. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, 82, how you doing? Another thing I think that stands out that's interesting to me is how women in that lifestyle, how there comes a time when they disassociate uh, the sex part. Like I said, it's their moneymaker. It's not like, the human mind is like crazy. Ask Kelly. Yeah, it's sad, Diana. Yeah. Yeah, those shirts I got the prototypes. These shirts were relatively cheap, and they should be done pretty soon. I got the proof back, and she forgot to put Tassie's name at the bottom. I'm not, you get what you pay for. No, that's exactly it, Jeff. Yeah, you're right. It's true. Yeah, probably true, Cynthia. Yeah. No, that's right. It's more of an ideology fantasy than it is a reality. I mean, when you plug in reality to any of these, scenarios, Maddie's a perfect example. another thing too. I mean, I say this all the time. I mean, I knew it was like that, but not to this extent, and I've recognized it through the analytics on YouTube. But racism is alive and well. Attractive people have way more benefits than unattractive people, and Maddie personifies that. She just is a perfect example of what I said earlier, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Maddie's a sweet person. People are attracted to that, and Maddie gives you that double zinger. That would be like a lady that was in the convent for 20 years and decided one day to strip and start making her own home porn. She would get 10 times the attention that someone that's been in porn since 18. And it's just Maddie's just, she's had kids and she doesn't have them anymore. She's got blue eyes. People think that her looks aren't what they used to be. And she's just everything. She releases a big shot of dopamine in everybody that clicks on her profile. You click on there because you want to see how derailed she really is. Maddie was fat, black, and retarded. We wouldn't be talking about her. Hang on one sec. Hello. Yeah, as it turns out, there's no like one-way cars no, there's shortage of cars everywhere. So I'm still working on it, but she said it's like that everywhere because they haven't been able to replace cars in their fleet, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, do it. But I don't think it's going to matter. She said they aren't anywhere because they don't have enough cars for like people that are renting them locally. And the last thing we want to do is give up one that they have it. Yeah, okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye. It's a guy down in Atlanta. Oh, good luck to you, Diana. Yeah, wish the best to you. Oh, yeah, glad you're around, Gail. Appreciate it. Hey, believe me, I don't know any more than it's just all I can tell you is what I observed. Believe me, if I knew of something that somebody else hadn't thought of, I'd have done it. I'd have done it. Oh, so yeah, it's a good idea. That's what I try and do, just bury my head in the sand. Maybe you could sew my eyes shut for me. I've done everything that I can think of, E82. I don't know what else to do. I mean, you have to have you have to you can only help as far as they're willing to let you. You know what I mean? Like I've learned, there are variations of drug addiction. Some people that are kind of looking for help, some people that aren't, some people that are on the fence. I mean, really, if you get that low in life and you got a criminal record and you're not working, and you got a half a brain, you're a little bit intelligent, you've got to ascertain along the way what a stretch it is to come from where you're at and where you'd think you'd like to be. And some people just don't have the energy to do that. It usually starts out with getting off drugs. Okay, you're 45, you've got a criminal record, you've got no life experiences. So you get off drugs, you go get a job and work like a slave for $11 an hour. And after a year or two of that, yeah, you're off drugs. That's true. You're not tricking anymore. That's an improvement. But your life sucks only in a different kind of way. It isn't the panacea that you thought it would be. And Becky, for all her downside, you got to give her credit for that. She just decided that she didn't want to be a housewife doing laundry, dropping the kids off at soccer practice. And after all these years of hardcore prostitution and drug addiction, she feels the same way now as she did the day she left the clothes in the dryer when she walked out. Oh, good, glad. Yeah, like I said, glad to have you. So, when it's hard to everybody wants their kid to be on the honor roll at the Christmas play as the lead singer. Doesn't work out that way. Who wouldn't want a Tom Brady as a son? Life's not fair by any standard. Oh, good for you, Diane. Well, I think a lot of these people, I think to me, but see, that's subjective as well, Simca. I mean, what's rock bottom? Well, it depends on how you look at it. Becky will tell you, and Maddie will tell you, and I would agree with it. Those kids are way better off without Becky or Maddie in their life. So how can you say it's sad for their children when the children are doing better without them? How can that be sad? If anything, you got to give them a check mark for having enough sense to realize the less they saw. It's not a Hallmark movie. Probably true, Sharon. Probably true. Yep, so true. Yep. I mean, if you look at the theory of evolution of mankind, that's a big, huge hole in the theory, and that is that human beings should evolve away from things that hurt their progress with drugs and alcohol. You're supposed to evolve away from things that are bad for you. And why in this day and age, and ever since alcohol and drugs were introduced, you got caveman running around stoned. Why is reality something that so many people would want to escape? It's a mystery to me. They're way better off, White Russia. Last thing you'd want is Maddie anywhere near her kids or Becky anywhere near hers. They stand a chance now. Absolutely true, Sharon. So true. That's exactly right. Don't realize it until after the fact. Well, you look at all the kids that are running around now, because of getting high and a tryst in the middle of the night. I mean, at 2:00 in the morning when you're both are attracted to each other, it's a whole nother day when you get up the next day, but it's too late. Because even though you're a drug addict and you thumb your nose at the law and you shoplift all day long, you still have a odd quirk that you don't believe in abortion because you consider it murder. So you had the child, and then you have all these balls up in the air trying to make it work, and you realize one day that, you know what, I just don't have it together enough to be a parent, and you give the kid up. And there's people that during the pregnancy understand that as well. Plenty of these babies are, of course, addicted to drugs when they're born, and the mother's already decided the first EPT test she flunks that this kid's going on the open market. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She was high, her inhibitions were lowered, she was having unprotected sex. And the sober days are much worse than the ones getting high ever were when she considered to what she did. Got pregnant. Yep, some people never hit rock bottom, that's true. Oh, absolutely, Kevin. Yeah, there's plenty of evidence to support this, for sure. Big time. Oh, hell yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's documented clinical studies on this. Yes. Yep. You're going to get a storybook, TV movie like Patch Adams or Dr. Ben Carson or one of these goddamn stories that are analogous to winning the Powerball with your last dollar. And everybody's going to think, wow, that is unbelievable. Look at the opportunities you have in the United States. You can come from an environment like this and you can still be a neurosurgeon or a medical doctor. Yeah, you can. It's like the most worst odds that ever existed in the entire world, but it's possible. But when a movie comes out or a book or somebody going on tour or a TED talk, it tends to give it a disproportionate amount of credibility compared to the real odds, facts, and statistics of real life. You really think spending $1 is going to help you win $100 million? It's the same thing with these movies and all this other stuff. It's entertainment. They know what people sell. What sells? Go to the self-help book section of a Barnes and Noble. Go look at like nature, astrology, astronomy, technology, blah, blah, blah. They're relatively small sections. Go to the self-help section. 4 big, giant, 75-foot long shelves filled from top to bottom. Why? Because it helps. Wouldn't it be great to just have this major thing that's been a constant roadblock and hurdle for your life go away with a book that's $19.95? And when you're in a bookstore next time, particularly like a Barnes and Noble, just look at all the people standing there, paging through the books, trying to find happiness. I've done it. And I do try when I see them. I'm always curious what these people are looking at. How to get over alcohol, how to not do drugs, how to be your own boss, how to increase your vocabulary, depression solved in 30 days, affairs don't need to be the end of your marriage, infidelity repaired, loving you. Because everybody's around there having this shit. That's why. Got this giant mass of people that aren't perfect, that struggle with human behavior. And the notion that you could buy something. If you can't run your own life, why not count on a stranger to take a stab at it, like an author that you've never met? Somebody that just has the gift of gab, that writes well, that's going to try and navigate you out of your shitty life that you created yourself. Why not let a stranger take a stab at it? You couldn't do it. Oh, huge. Yeah. I bought them myself. Feeling better, Rustic. Thank you. Yeah, I think I got ADHD. I certainly had my mental nosedives that I have the paperwork to prove. Better, Gertie. Thank you. Right on, Gail. Yep. It is, but people are desperate. When you're 18 and you're banging 2 chicks at the same time, and telling them that you love them and that things may work out. It's bad, but you're young and you don't know shit, and you really haven't defined what you are as a person, so you don't think it's that big a deal. These are 2 naive, horny women that deserve your attention. And then you get older and you figure things out and you wonder how much of this stupid, crappy shit you've done have come back to haunt you through kindred spirits, and you start changing up. And by the time you get your 30s, you start realizing what kind of person you'd like to be and working on it. You're not lying, you're not manipulating, you have consider honesty a virtue. You don't want any bad karma. It's just too bad that just didn't happen without, some kind of amendment to the way you lived an earlier life. Yeah, it's a business. It's their moneymaker. It's no different than weaving straw baskets in India or making birdhouses at the Amish bakery. It's their moneymaker. Yeah, I think he probably was, He said, quit bugging me. It was my day off. Now you know why. A lot of these guys, that guy's a perfect example. And you wonder sometimes, what's going on in his mind. Well, he made it to the NFL. And when you think about it, Sharon, and I'm not defending the guy, but when you come from a background like he did and you see this kind of trouble he got in, do you think this guy fears getting his knee damaged by running through a bunch of linebackers and defensive backs? A lot of these hard guys that came from difficult backgrounds, they can't understand what the fuss is all about. He thinks playing in a game with policemen around and referees is nothing compared to the life that got him there. He thinks, man, I can make, $13 million a year, and the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to have knee surgery. This is nothing. Probably not. I worked on it, and I did some adult literacy teaching down in Florida one time. And I'll tell you, once you get out of that age range of your brain developing and you don't know how to read, you can be a super smart person, be great in business, and reading is a constant struggle. I had smart guys down there that owned successful businesses, and at the end of a month, if they could read cat without cheating, it was a huge improvement. Yeah, that's not necessarily bipolar, Kevin. I mean, you could get evaluated. I mean, medication's cheap and readily available if you are. So if you do think you're that, there's two kinds, bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. It would be worth it getting diagnosed, because if you are, that's an easy fix. No, that makes sense. Yeah. All want to feel better. You got it, Gail. No, it'd be a huge problem. Well, believe me, there's people out there that never could reach you. Seriously, it's crazy. French finishing school. Go draw. All as I know is I want a girlfriend that went to French finishing school. That's true, Kevin. Yeah, it's true. Oh, that's a good. How you doing at that, Sharon? How's that working for you? And what does that entail? Yeah, meditation. I wish that worked out. I just don't think it's like, you got to be a candidate. To be a candidate for that. You got to captain your own ship. See, like me, I'd rather eat a hot dog right now, but I'm not. I'm eating a kind caramel almond sea salt nut bar. Why? Because I don't want a colostomy bag someday. Here's the thing, Flower Fairy. It's all conjecture, it's speculation. We're piecing our opinions together based on what we know, which is not a lot. We don't live with Maddie and Cheryl. We could all be wrong. Me too. Sharon could be right. We could be wrong. You just don't know. It's not enough to make a fair analysis. And we're not capable of a professional opinion. Yeah. I think prayer is a complete and total waste of time. You're better off banging your head against the wall. You guys can't give me a single instance of prayer working for sure. No right or wrong matter, Sharon. Give me an example, Sharon. Give me an example. Hey, Kim. Yeah, me too. Me too, right, Russia. Yep. Give me an example, Simka. Give me an example. Hey, Steph. She's doing great. Right on, Flower Fairy. I can't wait till they legalize it here. All my blow-up dolls are going to be recycled too, so I can make the environmental nuts happy. Hell yeah, White Russia. You better believe it. No, not in a long time. I have not. No, I don't know how he's doing. That guy's like 90 years old, still works full time. Give me an example, Sharon. Give me some example. I mean, this all sounds great. It ought to be stenciled on the, put into a bumper sticker and on your back of your car, but I want some examples here. There's no time to get quiet. Give me some examples. Hey, John. What's the example? I missed it. What are you giving more? Give me an example now. Oh, come on. All right, then how about this, Simka? Give me an example when prayer didn't work. How about that? Give me an example when it didn't work. And when it didn't work, why? Crickets, I like that. Oh, come on, Sharon, you're getting out there now. Sharon, give me an example when it didn't work to you. How about you give me an example when prayer didn't work? And when it didn't, why? Look, I'm not knocking you guys. If you believe in that, that's great. Hey, Cindy. All right, how about this? Sharon, Simca, here's today's homework assignment. I want you to pray Maddie gets out of there and goes to rehab and is clean. I want you to do the same thing for Becky. And then get back with me. Okay. That's what I said. I'm just asking for examples, Gail. I'm not disrespecting them. I'm just asking for some, I mean, everything else, you know, you can prove to me you're breathing. You can prove to me your heart works. You can prove to me you're going to a job. I would just like some examples of prayer working. That's it. Yeah, okay, good. All right. Yeah, why didn't that work for you, Sharon? Yeah, Cindy doesn't believe. Cindy, why? Why don't you believe? Can you, why don't you? You can't affect free will. Good for you. Hope. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. All right, Simca, Sharon, Steph needs some help. Her prayers are not working. No, I get free will. Oh, look at Cindy. She was going to be a pastor. No, I'm all for false. I mean, I'm even for false hope, to tell you the truth. I think false hope is beneficial. Yeah, okay, now you're talking spiritual now. If you say you're a Christian, I know exactly what you're talking about. You say you're a Muslim, I know what you're talking about. When you say spiritual, I still don't know what you're talking about. That's Oprah lingo. Sharon, are you a Christian? She's not praying correctly. Well, I do know the Bible talks about like just because you don't pray, if you're not supposed to pray to like win the lotto or have a better looking spouse. Why don't you like Oprah, Sharon? No, it's not. No, it isn't Russia. No, it isn't. It's got nothing to do with monotheism. Spiritual can be anything. Jim Jones thought he was spiritual. Thank you, Gail. You have a good day. Okay, Angie. Oh, you're going to hell for sure. Simka, isn't Sharon going to hell being a Buddhist? Tell her. Yeah. No, spirituality isn't related to monotheism. It can be anything. Spirit in the sky. No, he might have been a nut, but he claimed he was spiritual now, Kevin. Hey, meat candy. Have a good day, Steph. Get something good. Get fat free. Get fat free, please. I'm going to check out this podcast. When I did, I didn't really like it that much. I just uploaded a 5-hour and 24-minute video for your viewing pleasure. Oh, good for you, Cindy. What'd you get on it? If you watch that whole 5-hour and 24-minute video, you're going to get a Tassie t-shirt. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, JMO. Yeah, I am feeling better. Thank you. Oh, that's good. You have a nice visit, Brian? He claimed he was spiritual. That's all I'm saying is White Russia. I mean, just because you didn't like what he did, does that mean he couldn't have been spiritual in some way? I think there's two different versions on that. The NTSB had a different version than the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard said they're sloppy. The Coast Guard said that the hatches got filled with, they weren't properly secured and water came in and it sunk them. The NTSB said negligence. They did a shitty job. They didn't latch those down like they should have. And it was their carelessness that caused water to enter those bulkheads where they store all that stuff. And they were busy because the water was so rough and they didn't pay attention to the outside and realized that once that ballast was changed because of so much water, it was game over. So basically it was, if you look at both reports, both of them debunked the bottom hitting the bottom of the lake and cracking the ship in half. Both did agree that it was involved, had to do with hatches. One suggested they were defective. The other one suggested it was negligence and they weren't secured. So I'm sure it was the hatches. But what you got to try and ascertain is, do you think it's because they were careless? I think it was because you can call it careless, but as it turns out, for years, they never latched those down wherever they went. This is other carriers as well. They just never got into that same exact scenario like the Edmund Fitzgerald did that particular night. So it had to do with wind, speed, wave height, rogue waves. There's a theory out there called the Three Sisters waves that crops up every once in a while, and people that have sailed, some people never see it, other people have seen it more than once. And it's like these rogue waves that occur that can set you up in a predicament where you would get a ton of water over the top of the ship that you wouldn't have got otherwise. It's like the perfect storm of, sinking. So that's what I think. I don't know if it was negligence, defective hatches, sloppiness, but it was for sure the hatches. It's just, who do you blame it on? I can tell you this, you'll never probably see it again, because if what I believe is true that I read, and that people, once they dumped off a load, they got away with just like, only latching one side of it down for years. That's not going to happen anymore because of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And whether you believed the NTSB or the Coast Guard, what you did know is that water got into those hatches. And just to be on the safe side, I'll bet you money now, after they dump off a load of cargo someplace, that all those are hatched down as good as you possibly can do it. And you'll probably never see that exact opposite. So some good came out of it. There was a silver lining. That's what I think happened. Hatches, why, I don't know. If I was drinking a shot and a beer at a cheap bar, talking about NASCAR with a Bud Light, I would say that, like anybody, I've done it with everything. You're tired, you're lazy, you got away with it for 29 of the 30 years you worked there. So you put a rubber band around the corner of the hatch because it's worked your whole career, and that night it didn't work. So it made things better. That's right, I am, yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly unfortunate. I'm glad I wasn't on it, that's for sure. What a way to go. It didn't last long, though. Once that cold water rushed in there, and you were getting soaked, you knew it was only a matter of time. But, if you think about it, is it any different than the guy with four-stage lung cancer in a hospice? I mean, it's not like he's having a good day. But I think I'd rather just faint off into an oblivion with a supercharged injection of Demerol than I would with ice cold 33-degree water pressing my face up against the glass for the next 23 seconds that I was allowed to breathe. Yeah, I'm the same way. That's not uncommon, Tom or Kevin. As you get older, you get more interested in history. Yeah, Plane 2, yeah. Gordon Lightfoot. There was a part of that song he had to amend. I forgot what it was, but if you Google it, you'll find it. But after the song came out, which was very popular, there was a part he had to change later on. It's just like Money Ain't for Nothing, Chicks for Free song, Dire Straits. They had to take out the F-A-G-G word. Now they say a trucker instead of F-A-G-G. Times have changed. It is personal. I would agree, JMO. And the Catholics, even if you don't believe in their their take on religion. They provide excellent academic environments. There are certain areas where Jews go to Catholic schools and the parents just tell them to ignore the Jesus part. Oh, it does? A similar feeling to what, Sharon? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, the Bible, it's the number one selling public. So it couldn't have been just Christians reading it. Oh, that interests you, huh, me, Candy? If it brings you peace, you better believe it. Well, isn't that what a gummy and marijuana does? Peyote. The Indians say that peyote brings them closer to God. I got to agree with that. I think if I was allowed to bring a 4-pack of dragon's milk to a Sunday worship, my attendance would increase 1,000%. Demerol, no, I've never read that, Sharon. Where did you like that at all? Hypothermia is an absolute terrible way to die. I want you to cite these examples you come up with rather than just pulling them out of your ass. No, I believe that, Jamo. Yeah, I know you're telling the truth. Absolutely right. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Can I buy some KY jelly with it? I'm going to pray it's on sale. Did you really? Where'd you get a hold of that, Simca? Yeah, even the last 2 minutes. I've never read that anymore. Yeah. Hey, good luck. Stay Fernie. Good luck tomorrow, Brian, with your team. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, you, Cindy. Oh, okay. They're able to legally use it too in these religious things. No wonder they haven't got a Black Lives Matter campaign in their behalf. Having too much damn fun. They don't give a shit. They'll say, hey, we'd like to let you Native Americans know that we're not going to give you a special day. We gave you this property to hang out with nothing on it. You don't really own the land. You're a sovereign nation, so quit your bitching. So the Indians just go and they get out some peyote and say, fuck it. No problem. Doesn't bother us a bit. It's helped them cope. Oh, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. No way, JMO. Yeah, no, apples and oranges. And back in the day when they were at their peak, you either turned your homework in on time or it was a good beating. Even though people don't like it, and this is a lovey feeling, warm, bunny blanket type society now, violence is very effective. Even on a low level, like a kid that doesn't want to go to bed. Now you got to give them a big hug and tell them you love them instead of a big 28-inch paddle with holes drilled in it, using both hands and cracking him on the ass like you were hitting a grand slam. Oh, thank you, Kevin. Good luck with everything. Yeah. Remember, you got what you paid for, Kevin. Hope you feel better. Check out, seriously, I would really encourage you. I can send you some links on that bipolar thing because that's an easy fix if it's true. Yeah, you shouldn't be suffering from that in this day and age. All that stuff's generic. Yeah. Yeah, you're not supposed to suffer, Kevin. And that's biological origin. So it's not your fault. I mean, I'd take a pill for anything I could to make it go away. That's another thing of the Christian thing that I don't really like. You know, if you're not suffering or miserable 75% of the time, something's wrong with you or you haven't done enough. Fuck that. Slaughtering animals for sacrifice. You can keep it. No way. Not doing it. Which Jamie? Which Jamie are you talking about? The young one? The bangs haircut or the older one that mother got her into dope? Well, beating, you know, I don't think anybody died from a swat on the ass or their knuckles getting racked with a ruler by a Catholic nun. I'm not asking you to agree with it. I'm just telling you, if you look at the results, they were effective. Yeah, I haven't been down there in a while, Greg. Too many people have bothered me. How about the birth control pill, Simca? How about birth control pills? Yeah, she had another baby, and that's the last I heard. She had another baby. I don't know. There's no right or wrong. If you think it and that's your experience, you say it, Frederick. It's far away. This is a free spirit chat. Yep, sure does. Sure. Ask Saddam Hussein and Muammar Gaddafi. And as soon as they killed those kooks, they were the only two people that could keep those crazy, nutty, militant Muslims in check. And the minute they ended their lives, both those places went south. They've been downhill ever since. Don't compare the Middle East crazies to a democracy. It'll never work. You can't give them a big hug to expect things to get better. Saddam Hussein gassed 10,000 Kurds just to prove a point. Yeah, I haven't had a good Mexican dinner in a while. No, I didn't hear about. Oh, yeah. What's the deal on that? Is that true, or is that just the media trying to kick his ass out of his job? Even with the pill, Sipka? Even with the birth control pill? How about the morning after pill? Oh, okay. You know, I don't think Jesus would be too cool with that. That's nonsense, Kevin. That is crazy. No, they're stupid. They can't back it up with any scientific evidence. Zero, none. You're crazy. They ought to be in a rubber room with a muzzle over their face, promoting false doctrine, getting good, innocent, uninformed, low IQ people to die because of a simple shot. These crazies would probably wish the polio shot would have never come around again, too. Nut jobs. Yeah, but under that environment, it worked. Same with Gaddafi. It's not like over here. I mean, you got to quit trying to jam democracy down the throat of people that don't want it. It's the same thing with Maddie and these do-gooders. It's no different. Yep, Joseph Stalin, yep. Yeah, they have good. Yeah, but Greg, the only reason it's good is because it's hot. It's shitty coffee. It's that cheap Folgers coffee. Your coffee is supposed to be served at about 212 degrees Fahrenheit, but nobody wants to do that anymore because of liability. You got to protect these idiots that are stupid enough to take a coffee and stick it between their legs while they're driving down the road. Everything's dumbed down and idiot proof. Telway says, fuck it. They do. They do, Simca. Yeah. Yeah, these crazies that come up about these reasons not to get the vaccination. It's just based on like, it's like they consulted Charles Manson. You have a good day, Dominic. 112 is the way it should be. 212. 212. My bath water is 112. Another good one's an old percolator. You know, where you can watch it bubbling through the clear top. Hello, Alicia. Thank you. Yeah, tell Simca. Tell Simca, Alicia. See you, Dominic. Yeah, 212, yeah. No, that's the way to go. Up until you spill it. You know, you're supposed to be careful when you drink hot coffee. Hello? Yep, same reason you're supposed to wear a life preserver when you're in a boat. Parachute when you're doing aerobatics. Hello, people. Oh, Simca got it. Hell yeah, she got it. No, fever, you're supposed to have a fever. That means it's working, Kevin. That's the antibodies are being created in your body. Yeah. Somebody was on here the other day that said that they didn't show any antibodies after their COVID shot, which is super odd. Yeah, right around boiling, right around boiling. The idea is, Sharon, that you pull it in there, and then by the time you're sipping it, it's 210, 209. Uncovered liquids. Ask anybody that tries to heat a pool. Cool off super fast. So 212 is the hottest you need it at max when you put it in the cup. You need a sleeve. The clerks at the coffee shops ask me, do you want a sleeve? It's like, hell yeah, I don't want to burn up my jacket offhand. Yeah, thank you, Cindy. I mean, everything's idiot proof now. Well, yeah, but the Bible says, Simca, you can't get to heaven by good works alone. You can't. No, not true. Coffee doesn't dehydrate you any more than anything else past 22 ounces. That's a myth. It's right up there with Mrs. O'Leary's cow kicking over a bucket and lighting the city of Chicago on fire. Total horseshit. 22 ounces and under. Coffee is no more of a diuretic than anything else. It's not the temperature that's causing dehydration. It's the caffeine and the water that leaves your body. It's nothing to do with temperature. Quit believing that bullshit. Hey, Sherry. What's that, Micah? I prayed last week that my hustler and penthouse arrived safely in the mail without any bent corners. And you know what? They did. No, that's a whole bullshit made up story, Greg. It's not true because of the disdain that residents had for Irish immigrants. She couldn't have possibly started it. It was the neighbor, the peg leg taxi driver. Better, Sherry, better. Yeah, me too, Interneil. It does me too. Caffeine's good for your liver, by the way. I think it's good for your liver. I think I'm going to go to heaven. You know why? Because my steering wheel cover didn't get here, and I complained, and it didn't come. They didn't answer me, so I complained to eBay, and they gave me a refund. And then the steering wheel cover showed up today. So I contacted the place and I said, "Hey, I want to pay you for this, even though I got a refund because it showed up today, and I'm going to heaven now." Now I've been drinking a couple weeks. You know, I was feeling so bad that I was quitting everything, man. You name it, MSG, drinking, and well, now that I know it's something else, I'll probably go back to drinking. But I don't even have any alcohol in the house, to tell you the truth. My girlfriends are all not going to be as good looking, that's for sure. Who the hell wouldn't want to drink, man? It lowers your inhibitions. What's better than that? It takes average, overweight, plain people and makes them better looking. I mean, this is so much in a bottle. I mean, you guys like prayer and you talk about the benefits. How about just a fifth of Ardbeg 10? You feel good. You're pulling out a book. Glad to know you. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you. No, thank you, Edward. Thank you. So true. Now, if you've got high blood pressure or you got a nervous problem, well, maybe not, but overall, right? Yeah, it's true. It's got antioxidants in it. I'll tell you, I will tell you this though. I do think the studies that I've read on alcohol are bullshit. That's a bunch of alcohol manufacturers making this bullshit up with shaky evidence. It's it's your pancreas goes nuts. Insulin levels are off the charts. It's empty calories, but that they claim it's good for you. I don't buy it. It's good for you because it makes you feel good. And it makes you take the shitty life that you live on a daily basis and put it in the back burner. But it's not good in the sense of medicinal qualities. They say red wine's good for you. Bullshit. Not overall. Not overall, it's not. But you could argue, well, it keeps me sane. Okay, well, it's good for you then. But you're thinking that it's good for you like fat-free fake bacon. It's not. Bunch of bullshit. Dr. Oz. Oh, no kidding, Jim. Well, that's interesting. Huh. Wish they'd do that with some of these YouTube fuckers. Yeah, it helps. Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I don't know how it helps. I mean, yeah, I think it's antioxidants. Yeah, Stairway to Heaven, that's a good song. They played that for my graduating class. I said, why are you guys ramming this religion up my ass on one of the most important days of my life? That's some more bullshit I learned. They said that I was one of these days that I was gonna wish that I was back in high school. Bullshit. 1974. I never looked back. I'm as happy today as I was the last day I left that place. Never went to one class reunion. Could care less about it. I felt the same way leaving that high school the last time as I did going to a funeral. Something I had to do, but was happy it was never going to happen again. Oh, really, Edward? That's interesting. Huh. I'm going to do it, Brian. Why not? Better believe it. I mean, if Timothy, who's that goddamn kook that blew up the people? Timothy McVeigh, if he can get deathbed repentance and he can be saved after doing what he did before they put him to sleep for good, then I'm going to pray. You know, I don't think if you quiz people and you're friends with them and there's nobody around, they're not worried that someone's going to cop an attitude that they're an alcoholic. I know a lot of people that drink a whole bottle of wine, red wine. You know, if you're drinking it in 15 minutes, you know, arguably you got a problem. You're spreading it over 6 hours. Is it that big a deal? Probably not. If you don't, you know, it's not like you're doing it every night. Yeah, hell of a drummer. You know, this act that his kid's doing now with this Japanese or Chinese guitar player, it's not flying. I mean, just because you were John Bonham's son doesn't mean anything. Same thing with Nicolette Larson's and also our parent was an ass kicker, rocker. Don't count on it. Used in slaughterhouses. What? Where are you coming up with this stuff? And why? I would not buy my meat there. Yeah, me too. I like it too. But that happens when you're older. You know, I could never figure out why these old people like Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole, now they're wondering the same thing about me with Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots. It's just the age you get caught up in. Oh yeah, you see some of these Asian kids on anything. Guitar, piano, drums, whatever. It's like they're in diapers shredding it. That's what 10 beatings and being locked inside your bedroom will create. Yeah, these Japanese, unbelievable. Does that mean I want to be Japanese? No, I do not. Yeah, I like watching those old people too. It's interesting. With music playing, huh? Nothing wrong with being a critic. Creates for healthy dialogue. I think Daisy's having a nightmare. I'll wake her up. Yeah, no, it's happening to us too. Very cool. Yeah, I like it. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, isn't that weird how that happens, Brian? So crazy. Hey, I'll tell you something interesting. I did a little experiment today. So I do these videos. I come on. I make a file. Or like on my GoPro, I put it in an SD card reader. Files come up. So I took Daisy for a walk today. I've done a million of them. I really don't need to be uploading anymore. So I copied the file that was on the mini SD card. Copied it, right? And then what I did is I deleted the file. Then I went to paste those files in a folder, and you couldn't do it because they weren't on the SD card anymore, which I thought was really interesting. It was a cheap experiment, and I was kind of surprised that that data needs to be present on a card during the copying process, even if it's successfully copied. I never really knew that before. I mean, I knew you couldn't upload a file and delete it halfway through and expect the upload to continue. So really, you are copying of it. You can't paste it independently of a complete copy from beginning to end, which is interesting to me. No, that changes things, Simkin. Simkin, why don't you do that anymore? I use, on the audio, I've got like a free one I downloaded, and then I've got another one on Power Director Plus. I'm really like, don't know too much about sound, but the video is I got an old one, Power Director 15. I would upgrade, but to be honest with you, I think any affordable editing program is still kind of cheesy looking. So the only thing I use it for is to mute ambient sound. Like if the window's down, I want to put music over it. And like GoPros, every 8 minutes, they start a new clip. If they didn't, they would all overheat. So if you do a 45-minute video, you're going to have, or a 40-minute video, you're going to have 5 8-minute clips. And I splice them together, that kind of thing. So that's what I use, Power Director. And I use it for audio as well. But I'm really like at the baby stages of audio. So I'm going to plan on working on that this winter. Audio is very complex. It's 1,000 times harder than video. But I checked them all out. All those like Adobe and all that shit, the learning curve super stiff. And I'm not into it that much. And I'm not going to be using titles and trailers and special effects. I used to use Windows Movie Maker, and that was fine, but until they discontinued it. There's a download, I think, for that. I never used it though, because I don't really have audio independent of video very often. So there's no reason to like, up the ante on a program. My audio issues are with a high fidelity Sony recorder, a PCM D100, and I'm getting used to it still. Okay, clock. Oh, okay. That's interesting, Kevin, huh? Oh, wow. Oh, it is a gold standard. Yeah, I think I got a download on that, or I checked it out, and I fooled around with it, and I thought, if I did more of it, I probably know a lot more about it now. I mean, sound interests me, but like I said, it's almost always connected to video. See that bird just fly up in the tree? Oh, handbrake, yeah. This Sony thing, man, this thing is so damn sensitive. They're like $1,000. I mean, the other day, I was doing those bird things, and I always tend to like have the gain up too much because I just can't believe that it can be that low and hear a damn thing. And sure enough, I was experimenting with some the other day on some ducks quacking, And I'm thinking, what in the hell is that noise? And it was a car on a gravel road about a mile away. Well, I watched an excellent one on a turret gunner in a B-17. It's got to be pretty compelling for me to watch from the beginning to end. I watched the whole damn thing. It's like an hour and 17 minutes long. Couldn't get enough of it. So interesting, a turret gunner. Oh, I could no way do that. I couldn't do that unless you. See, to me, I think that's the nuttiness of Christianity. There is no way in hell is it in my personality to forgive somebody that killed one of my children. And I would do whatever I could to get a shot at killing them until the day I died. Oh, have you now? What did you take away from that? No, it's not. Actually, warmer temperatures, unfortunately, Kevin. I was hoping that we'd get I'll look right now, but I can take it or leave it. Now that I'm feeling better, I'm looking forward to the winter, but man, I was feeling shitty. I was cold all the time and thought, shit, man, this winter, man, no matter what I wear, I'm cold. Shit, it's going to be 60 Sunday, 53 tomorrow. There's no snow in the forecast for the next 10 days. Yeah, it's all right. No, none. Yeah, but that's Old Testament, isn't it, Sepka? That's Old Testament. Yeah, but she's talking about like the consequence of that, Cindy. Oh, really, Alicia? What got you on the right track then? Now we're talking my lingo, Kevin. That's just this crazy horse shit that's out there. Leave it to some crazy religious kook to think that you should hug the person that killed your child. I mean, that is as fucked up as it gets. That's the level of separation these people have with sanity. I tell people, whoever had kids, I want my son to marry a woman. Call me old-fashioned. Well, I think I'm going to sign off here, you guys. Make myself something to eat. I hope you have a good weekend, good night tonight. That's all right, Gail. It's no problem. You're doing the old in and out. Yeah, but Simca, they're freeing people all the time that were wrongfully convicted. See you, Johnny. See you, Lisa. See you, Sue. Bye, Alicia. See you, Brian. Yeah, I'm gonna read a good book. Yeah, thank you, Sharon. Good time. See you, Cindy. All right, Thomas, take care. That a girl, mate. You say hi to the deer, to the moose, and the take a look at the giant cabbage for me. All right, Adriel. Yeah, it's discriminatory, man. That's right. Bye, me, Candy. See you, Simca. Bye, Tammy. I'm gonna read that link on that rack now too. That's too bad. Yeah. All right, you guys. Have a good night.